I'm sorry if all the rumours are constantly overtaking you on this channel. I actually had a Fulgrim video planned today discussing his potential return, the lore, etc., everything around that. That is going to be tomorrow's video, so fear not. Now, today's video, the reason why I'm doing this today is because I personally think this is a huge video in terms of 10th edition rumours of what's going to be coming in 10th. Now, these are not from my sources, but the reason why I'm doing it is because a lot of things on this list match what my sources have been saying. This was posted over on a Dark Angels Discord server, and it was forwarded to me by a chap called Abby, who's also on that Discord server. So shout out to Abby for forwarding it to me. Again, the reason why I'm covering this, because I don't normally cover other people's rumors, is because how big some of the things on this list are, which I was told about, but I haven't even spoken about yet to you, doing a video or even a live stream. So I just want to cover it in today's video because this potentially could be absolutely huge going forward in 10th edition. So let's jump in and, of course, let's get waffling. So just before we jump into these rumors, I'm going to say what I always say is that rumors are rumors. They are absolute lies until Games Workshop prove it themselves. So please don't take these as facts or anything like that. So please be warned. Also, I'm going to put down the text on the bottom of the screen that I'm going to be reading from here. So if you want to follow along with where we are and what we're talking about, it's going to be down there. Right, so this is all basically made as bullet points. And the first bullet point states, Warhammer 40,000 10th edition is launching June the 24th, 2023. Now, I literally made a video about that the other day. If you want to go and watch that, it's literally the video before this video. Go and watch it all. It's all the evidence and stuff in there that I was told about and stuff like that. Now, the starter box set is going to be Adeptus Astartes versus Tyranids. We know that as well, because this has been talked about to death now. Tyranids fighting the Adeptus Astartes. Apparently, the Tyranids are going to be getting a full-on range refresh, just like what the Necrons got when they got their box appearance at the start of 9th edition. Now, this is where it starts to go a little bit funker. So it says here, the promotional art will show them as Dark Angels and Hive Fleet Leviathan. So what we've heard so far, there's been two conflicting stories so far. This is technically now a third conflicting story. The first story is that it's basically going to be generic Space Marines painted as generic Space Marines in the box fighting Tyranids. That's what we were told. And then the other rumor is that no, it's going to be generic Blood Angels fighting Tyranids as the box art, because, lore, narrative, everything like that. Now, this one, if I'm reading it right, is saying that it's going to be Dark Angels fighting the Tyranids as the art on the box. When I say art on the box, it means it's just the generic Space Marines inside there. There's no Dark Angel specific units, no Blood Angel specific units, no Ultramarine specific units. It's just the general Space Marine, which anyone can assemble and paint what you want. It's just the art that they've done it in. So this one is saying it's got to be Dark Angels versus Hive Fleet, which does make a little bit more sense because of the rumored stuff that we're apparently getting with the Dark Angels, aka the Lion, coming out hopefully very, very soon, and that'll be proved to everyone. The next line down says Tyranid players will receive a new model called an Apex Swarmlord. I really don't know anything about the Tyranid race as much as I should do. Does that make sense to you Tyranid players? What's that? Is it just going to be like a bigger, better, more awesome Swarmlord? Because I know what Swarmlords are. They are the big daddy, right? They are the bee's knees. An Apex one just sounds like it's even more killer than that. Now, I haven't heard that from my sources, so again, if you want to trust that, it's entirely down to you. Now, there is a little bit of talk about the narrative of this, and this really interests me a lot because I absolutely love the narrative of Warhammer, the stories, everything that's been brought to it. So it says here, narrative does not appear to be a time skip, but expanding on the events elsewhere while the Indomitus Crusade battles the Necrons, led by the Silent King, which we do have evidence for in the latest White Dwarf magazines. The Silent King has turned up, and basically Games Workshop launched the Arcs of Omen books, and we were like, wait, hang on. we're about to get this epic showdown potentially of Guilliman and the Silent King, and nothing happened with it. So maybe this is what they're doing now. Maybe they're branching that over to 10th edition. It goes on to say Arcs of Omen, the Lion. This is the book, Arcs of Omen, the Lion, which again I've been saying about. Like the 5th book is apparently going to be called the Lion. The 4th book apparently is called Farsight. So Farsight, the Lion, will be the first step in a long-form narrative chain tying both galactic conflicts together. So if that turns out to be true, that's very, very interesting, because then potentially you can have the Lion dealing with the Arcs and then going on to help his brother Guilliman deal with the Necrons and the Silent King. Really, really hope that does turn out to be true. I'd love to see the Lion's take on the Necrons. I'd love to see the Lion take on the Necrons, specifically the Silent King. Now, that would be an absolutely epic showdown. Next on the list, it says core rules are streamlined. We've been speaking about this. Well, I've been speaking about this, how I'd like the game to be more streamlined. I know a lot of people disagree with me. I'm not arguing with you. If you like the game as it is now, good for you. For me, I'd like it a little bit more streamlined. This bit is a funky one. Psychic phase and command phase are combined. Now, I have heard whispers about this, but I don't know if it was kind of like, oh, people are going off what the Horus Heresy rules were doing, you know, with that psychic phase and stuff like that. But again, that one is jumping out at me of something I've heard before. The next one is definitely something I've heard about, and I haven't spoken about this really to anyone. And it says here, toughness is only a data sheet with heavy keyword ability, e.g. Terminators, Rhinos, Dreadnoughts, etc. Generic troops now only roll to hit when attacking and save when defending. Now, I have heard through my sources that there is a huge change to toughness. I don't know what it was, but that is what I was told by people whom I trust. And this one has mentioned a change to toughness and basically stated what it potentially could be. So that is very, very interesting there. It goes down and says armor pen and invulnerable saves are unchanged. It says here Crusade is being simplified and behaves closer to Age of Sigmar's Path of Glory. I've never played Age of Sigmar. I don't know what Path of Glory is. If anyone in the comment section can help me out with that, I'd be, over the moon. So thank you. Detachments, battle forging, stratagems, and CP generation have all been simplified or reworked. Now, from the evidence that we had with the World Eater Codex, a lot of people were saying it's a lot more simpler codex. There's not that many stratagems in there. Secondaries were even in there for the World Eater race and stuff like, well, I say World Eater race, the World Eater faction. So maybe that has some truth to it as well, and that's what they're going to be doing, just simplifying the game a little bit more. Sorry, I'd take a little break and have a drink because I've not stopped talking. He says here, along with the starter box set, there's going to be a new series of terrain intended to scale from small to medium to large scale games. I don't know really what that means. I'm like where I go to straight away is like, what is it going to be? Only a certain amount of terrain allowed in like a small game, a big game, or is it like, okay, you can only take a certain size piece of terrain in like a 500 point game, and then it increases with like big buildings in like the 2,000, 3,000 point games. I'm not really sure what that means. I'm sure one of you guys will help me clear it up in the chat, or we can just argue about it as we always do. The core rules will be free online with 2 variants. Now, this is what I'm really interested in, because I've always said, really, I think all rules should be free. I think if Games Workshop really want to bring a lot of people into the game, make the rules free. They change the rules so much, and I think if you make those rules free, then a lot more people can actually spend the money actually buying the models, painting the models, playing the models. Now, if you want the physical books and everything like that, sure, you have to pay for that. But an actual e-printed version online, that definitely should be free. So as I mentioned, it says the core rules will be free online with 2 variants. One is narrative and competitive. Now, we've talked about this before, about having 2 books, a narrative and a competitive book. Maybe the narrative is more like Crusade, though, rather than, just playing the game as you want and stuff like that. I don't know. Again, we'll talk about that in the comment section. There is a codex coming for Dark, Mech, and 1 new Xenos race. Now, let's talk about this, because if there's one thing I always see requested across all my videos, is dark. Well, there's two things. There's Traitor Guard and there's Dark Mechanicus. And if this is true, again, I'm believing, let's say 95% of this so far. I really, really hope that is one of the things that does happen, because I think Dark Mech could make for a absolutely fantastic armor, and I also think that it would make a lot of people happy, because again, as I said, I always see people talk about it, requests about it, and stuff like that. The one new Xenos race, no idea. What could they bring in? If I was a betting man, well, not a betting man, if I wanted something to come in and really start, you know, putting the Imperium, maybe even the other Xenos races like the Tyranids on the back foot, the Rangdad or something like that. The one that nearly basically wiped out the Dark Angels during the Great Crusade and stuff like that. We've heard that they are a scary race. We didn't end up purging them during the Great Crusade. They just disappeared. Where did they disappear to? Maybe the back. You know, maybe they want their vengeance on the Imperium and they're going to smash anyone that's in their way. No idea, but you know, it's up to you to come up with an idea for that. Who do you think could be the next Xenos race added to it if this is true? A second wave of Votann, along with an updated codex, is expected to launch in September. More Votann. Who wants it? Who wants more squats? September, it says here, could be with you. That does make sense. Apparently, as much as I really didn't take to the new Votann, because I've said that so many times before, they weren't really for me. But a lot of people like them, and you know, props to you. Find the fun where you find the fun, as I've always said. The next bit is Space Marines. Here we go. The Space Marines will receive a codex, and rules for chapters is changing completely and will be explained in a special White Dwarf releasing in May 2023 and closer to the release on the Warhammer community website. Before we go to the next bit, let me just talk about the Space Marine stuff. So apparently, for this edition, we were supposed to be getting Space Marine Codex supplements. For whatever reason, that never happened. You know, when I say supplements, like Imperial Fist, Ultramarines, White Scars, etc., etc., that was supposed to happen this edition. But what I heard is that now it's been pushed back to 10th edition. So maybe this is what is going to be explained. Maybe they're going to do it via White Dwarf magazines where you get the supplements and stuff like that. I'm interested to see what this could mean about the rules for chapters is changing completely. That is kind of scary. Is it going to change in a good way or a bad way, right? Let's see. Hopefully it changes for the good way and my Imperial Fist can be meta once again and everyone will flee from my bolt spam. And the last bit right down here, right at the bottom, says the new edition will also see GW retiring the current range of texture paints, and they will be replaced with new products using new materials intended to be another contrast paint style product to quickly allow beginners in a partnership with Screen Products Limited. I have no idea what that company is. But they're basically saying there's going to be a new contrast texture paint or something that's like the contrast paints, which make it easy to do. I actually think the texture paints are easy to do right now. You just bang it on there and it just dries and you have what you have. But then again, I have been moving over to like, you know, the good old fashioned PVA glue, dip it in like a bowl of like rubble, shake it off and let it dry. That's what I've been doing. I think that's the best way to go forward. But there we go. That is the entire list I've gone through. I want to say a shout out to Abby for sending me this over. I wanted to talk about this because, again, some of the things in there really piqued my interest, and some of the things I haven't spoke about are on this list. So this is why I believe most of this is true. When it comes to like certain models like the Apex Swarmlord, I'm a bit 50-50 on. Dark Angels and the High Fleet Leviathan being like the main promotional art. I can believe that. I actually really can believe that. I have heard High Fleet Leviathan is going to be the poster boys. So yeah, Dark Angels being the other part of that. I'm literally on board with, because again, I've heard about the Dark Angel range refresh as well, about, you know, them getting new models and all that awesome stuff, and I've done videos on that, of course, if you want to go and watch that on the channel. Anyway, enough waffling. I'm just repeating myself now at this point. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. If you've got any thoughts, feedback, anything like that at all, post it down below, and we can have a nice little talk in the comment section down there. See you now. Have a great day, and bye-bye.